When I pulled into Grandma's driveway for our weekly lunch date, her caregiver met me at the door and said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." I just stood there like an idiot because Grandma had literally texted me 45 minutes ago. "What are you talking about?" I said. "She texted me about wanting Chinese food." The caregiver kept that fake sad face going while holding the door halfway closed. Mrs. Holloway died 4 days ago, and I had her cremated like she wanted. I pulled out my phone and showed her the text message I had received from Grandma just a few hours ago. "Honey, I saw on the news it's going to rain later, so bring an umbrella. Don't forget extra spring rolls." The caregiver's face twitched, but she recovered fast. "That must be an old message because look." She pulled out this folded paper from her pocket. "Here's the death certificate." I looked at the paper with Grandma's name typed on it and some doctor's signature at the bottom. My stomach felt sick, but something was definitely not right here. "I need to come inside," I said, and pushed past her into the house. The house felt wrong the second I walked in. Grandma's room was completely empty with no sheets on the bed or clothes in the closet. "I donated everything to charity like she wanted," the caregiver said behind me, but then I saw full bottles of medication sitting on the kitchen counter. "Why are these here?" I picked one up and read the label. "These pills were just filled yesterday at the pharmacy." The caregiver followed me around the kitchen, getting more nervous. "They were automatically refilled and delivered because I forgot to call and cancel them." I pulled out my phone and called Grandma's number to prove something was going on. Her jazz ringtone started playing from somewhere below us, and the caregiver practically jumped to block the basement door. "That's just my phone," she said quickly. "No, it's not," I said. "I set up that ringtone for her myself." Her hands were shaking now. "You need to leave so I can finish packing up the house." But I wasn't going anywhere. I shoved her aside and ran down the basement stairs. "Stop! You can't go down there!" she screamed behind me. At the bottom was a locked door to what used to be the storage room, and I could hear something moving inside. "Grandma?" I shouted through the door. A weak voice answered from inside. "Help me, please." The caregiver was right behind me now, grabbing at my shirt. "She has dementia. She doesn't know what she's saying." I ignored her and kicked the door hard. "Stop or I'll call the police," she yelled. "Good, call them," I said, and kicked again. 3 kicks and the cheap lock finally broke. The door swung open and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My 82-year-old grandmother was tied to a metal bed frame with leather medical straps across her chest and legs. There was an IV bag hanging from a coat rack with tubes running into her arm. Papers were scattered everywhere on a folding table next to the bed. Grandma looked at me with foggy eyes like she was fighting to stay awake. "She makes me sign things," Grandma whispered. Her voice was so quiet I had to lean in to hear her. I grabbed the papers and saw a new will leaving everything to the caregiver. There were bank slips showing $90,000 had already been taken from Grandma's bank account. "You sick monster," I said to the caregiver. "You've been robbing her." The caregiver tried to run up the stairs, but I blocked her path. "You're not going anywhere." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911 while keeping myself between her and the stairs. "My grandmother is tied up in a basement," I told the dispatcher. "Her caregiver told me she was dead, but she's been holding her prisoner." The cops showed up in less than 10 minutes with paramedics who carefully untied Grandma. "She drugs my food," Grandma told them as they checked her vitals. "Every meal has something in it that makes me sleepy." One of the officers found a bottle of sedatives in the caregiver's purse. "She said she'd give me too much insulin and kill me if I didn't sign everything," Grandma continued. The caregiver started screaming as they put the cuffs on her. I wiped her ass and listened to her complain every single day for 5 years while her family acted like heroes for showing up with takeout. The officers had to basically drag her up the stairs. The cops found 3 different death certificates where she had been staying upstairs. They even found insulin and syringes, which was insane because Grandma wasn't diabetic. "You know what she told me?" Grandma said as the paramedics checked her over. "She told me my family already had my funeral and nobody even cried." She squeezed my hand. I knew that couldn't be true, so I texted my granddaughter. I knew she'd find me. The caregiver got 15 years for elder abuse and fraud. Grandma made a full recovery and came to live with me.